You have found Firebirds Weekly, a show about everything Firebirds. Thank you for stopping by. Game analysis, highlights, stats and trends. Firebirds Weekly, beyond the headlines. Tonight's guest is DJ Walden. Here are your hosts Adam Samrow and Chris Sipperly.
So, welcome to episode 6 of Firebirds Weekly. I'm one of your co-hosts, Chris Sipperly. I'm joined by my co-host, Adam Samrow, and today's guest is DJ Walden of the Albany Firebirds. Thanks for joining us tonight, DJ.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm excited, man. I'm pumped.
Our first interview of the new year, 2025. What's your hopes and dreams for 2025?
Man, just as far as like personal or team-wise?
Yeah, personal. You yourself.
I mean, just, to grow, just have better character and grow, just continue to grow as a person, first and foremost, a better teammate, a better son, just I'm excited for, the team. I'm excited for camp. We report soon. So, obviously last year didn't end how, we wanted it. But this year we're coming in with a chip on our shoulder. So things are going to get real intense for sure.
Excellent. Yeah. So, we wanted to, talk about you. We've had some interviews already this last couple of months with Sean and Trevon and the guy from AF1 as well. Gary Compton. And, so what we want to talk about, find out about you, give our fans here in Albany a glimpse into who you are. So first thing, tell me about your introduction to the game and some of your influences as you were growing up playing the game.
So I actually started playing football when I was about 7 years old. My dad signed me up. And, I'm not going to lie, at first I was kind of scared to play just as a little kid, seeing them hit and stuff on TV. But as soon as I got out there, man, and hit somebody for the first time, I instantly fell in love with it. But my dad's definitely been a major influence as far as me playing football, because he actually threw me out there and told me to go out there and try it. So, and I ended up falling in love with it. And now, I'm here with the Firebirds, and it's been a major blessing. Yeah, man. Definitely.
So I want to ask a follow-up question with that.
Sure.
Only because we've been doing this for a little while, and it's a question that I sort of like to ask, somewhat often. What has the game of football done for you as a human being? Like what has the game shown you that made you a better person?
It's shown me that, because football relates to life in so many ways, man. When things get hard, it shows you how to push through, how to overcome adversity. And I know people hear that all the time, and it's easy to say, but it's a different thing to actually do it and have to go through that. So that I would say that the key thing that I've learned, just throughout my life playing football is just how to overcome adversity, and just how to overcome obstacles and challenges when things get really rough, because it's easy to give in, but it's hard to keep going when things aren't going your way. So definitely translate that to life.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's a big deal, especially for younger players to, young players to hear, like, football is this kind of thing where, you're learning the X's and O's, but it's really a life game. Like, how do you handle life, after football and that kind of thing. So definitely a good thing there.
I think one of the best things about football is, I'm not going to downplay any other sport, but like, I think football is probably the hardest sport to have success in. Meaning, like, you have to beat the man across from you in order to succeed. So I'm not saying anything against any other sports, but I think football alone really tests your will. Personally, I really do.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's physical too, like it gets real out there, and if you're not ready to, you just got to be ready to go against, like you said, against that man across from you, probably 42 snaps a game.
Yep.
So yeah, it definitely gets real out there for sure.
So I was, doing, like I said, some research, and I saw that you were from the Atlanta area, the ATL. Tell me about your experience, going to school and growing up down south. Up here, it's, you're not dealing with 15 degrees down there like it is up here this week. Tell me about, growing up down in Atlanta, the Atlanta area.
Growing up down here, man, it's pretty cool. It's real diverse. It's I lived in South Atlanta till I was probably about 7 years old, 8 years old, and I moved to Gwinnett County. And I don't know if y'all know much about much about Gwinnett, but they produce like a lot of high class athletes, man. And so the competition down here has just always been high. Like the standards have always been high. They got kids down here training hard at 7 or 8, and unfortunately, I wasn't one of those kids. I wasn't introduced to that type of training until later in life. But growing up down here, man, it was cool. Obviously it's dangerous in some parts, but I feel like every part of somewhere has a dangerous place. But
no doubt,
for the most part, it's cool, man. It's fun. The people are cool. I love it down here, man. I love Atlanta, and it was actually different for me. Last football season was actually my first time ever being to New York. So yeah, it was definitely different, but I love the experience for sure.
Excellent. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about going to Division II. Tell me a little bit about the process, going from high school in that environment where kids are training when they're 7, 8 years old to be, they're destined to be the top.
Right.
And you had a different path there. Tell me about that kind of process. Getting into your senior year of high school, that kind of thing, and getting recruited to play at Shorter in Rome, Georgia.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, my path was a little different, man. So like I said, I've been playing football since I was 7, but the area that I grew up in, football wasn't really, we weren't the team. You know how like the counties and stuff, they may have just different little league teams, and like the specific area I was in, like we weren't really good. And when I actually ended up going to Berkmar High School, and we weren't good, like, and it was tough. Like there were the seasons we'd go 0-10, and that, yeah, it's tough. That is very hard on like someone's mental, especially. And we worked really hard. I could never understand.
Yeah,
why.
I've been there, man. I get it. I don't mean to cut you off. My junior year, I think our best game was 48-14. So I totally understand, because like back then too, even now it's a lot of hard work. So like you said, it definitely builds character when you put in that kind of work that you do, and then you continue to have the struggle. But not to take the words out of your mouth, because I think I know where you're headed. It just makes the victories that much more special.
Exactly. And so I went to Berkmar my freshman through junior year. And, I just had some life issues going on that that's when I had moved with my grandparents to Jasper, Georgia, Pickens County. That's where that high school team was the only high school in the county. So the games were packed. They were a good high school. I believe we went 8-2. I went from going 0-10 to 8-2. Got there, started, and I actually played center in high school. I never played defense before until college, but and I'm gonna get to that. But yeah, we went 8-2, lost first round in the playoffs. That was very unfortunate, but that was my first time ever in my life ever going to the playoffs, even in Little League football. So it was a great experience, man. I made a lot of good friends, good connections, and my coach, he knew he had actually a few, because I was trying to go D1, man. Obviously, who doesn't want to go D1?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't really have much time with me. Like I believe I got like first team all region or first team all state, something. That was a while ago, man. But he didn't have much time with me, and it was very unfortunate. But he got me in the door at Shorter, and I ended up playing back. This is how I started playing defense in college. I ended up, because I was in high school, I was playing center at 260, 265. I played basketball my senior year for Pickens County High School, and I lost weight. I got to about 215, and I was supposed to show up to college at 270, and I showed up at 215.
Oh boy, that got somebody's attention, didn't it?
I'm sure.
Yeah. My coach, he saw me. He just stared at me for about 10 seconds, and he was like, "Where'd you go?" He was like, "Why are you a lot smaller than the last time I seen you?" And I told him, I'm like, I played basketball. We did a lot of running, and I lost weight. And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna give you two choices." He was like, "Either you can play center at 215, or you can play defensive end." And obviously, I'm going to
defensive end. It is, yeah, no doubt. Listen, anybody, well, not anybody, but myself included. If you get an opportunity to move yourself away from the offensive line because you got smaller, you're going to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, and even then, man, Shorter, it was tough there. we weren't good. We weren't that good. I probably won about 5 or 6 games my whole college career. So that's mental toughness right there, man, doing it over and over and over again. But I've always just had that drive and that dream. Like I wanted to continue to go further. And like obviously my dream is to play in the NFL, and that's my goal one day. And I'm glad that I got this opportunity to, get to the AF1.
Well, how did that opportunity? I know we're kind of bouncing around here
That's
a little
fine.
bit, but
Yeah.
how did that opportunity present itself? Like, what was the recruiting process for that? Like, how did you end up going from what you're doing, which I don't know what you're doing between college and now,
Right.
but like how did it all kind of materialize? How did the powers that be get in touch with you and decide, you know what, we want to make DJ an Albany Firebird?
So last year, it was an offensive lineman that played for us as well. His name was Sean Brown. He just signed to the UFL. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I met Sean Brown. So after I graduated college, I was training for pro day and stuff at the training facility, Team MVP Gym in Flowery Branch, Georgia. A lot of athletes, a lot of NFL players come through there. The gym is owned by Stephen McClendon, 13-year NFL vet, Super Bowl champion. So that's how I met Sean Brown, and we go hard in there, and I just was always talking to Sean. Me and him got real cool, and that's my guy. Shout out Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Steve. But I was telling them like how bad I wanted to play. Like nobody would give me a chance because of my size. But Sean told me about Coach Ware, and he talked to Coach Ware. Him and Coach Ware have a good real relationship. So Sean put the bug in his ear, and I was fortunate enough to talk to Coach Ware and get invited to camp. So I'm very thankful for that.
No, that's great because it's funny how things go. A former player of mine today was talking about opportunities for other guys and how important it is to, like, if as a fellow player, to if you're gonna like vouch for somebody that is legitimate, player that will bring value and ultimately keep your name in good graces with your employer. So it is critical, and that's great for Sean, man. I think everybody in Albany's glad that you're here.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here, man. The atmosphere is amazing. I love it in Albany. The coaching staff is great. The teammates are great. The training staff's great. Everybody's great, man. You guys are great. So I'm thankful for all.
Thank you.
Yeah, for real. I'm thankful for all y'all, man. For real.
I want to go back a little bit because doing the research today, you were playing at Shorter during the pandemic. How did the pandemic affect your path in terms of trying to get to the next level?
Right. So I was finishing. So right before the pandemic, I was going into my my redshirt senior year, and we were supposed to, practice that spring. We're supposed to have the spring, and then we go home for summer and come back and do all the regular stuff. But
Right.
the pandemic hit, so we right before spring practice we had to go home. We probably stayed home for a while. I mean, you remember how long the pandemic was till guys started back playing sports. Then I actually got another year. They were gonna waste my redshirt senior year, but because of the pandemic, everybody got another year. So they invited us back, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember, but yeah, that's just crazy.
That time was a whirlwind between March of 2020 and like March of 21. That time was just, your head was spinning.
Yeah. So once we got sent home for the pandemic, we actually came back, and they were gonna, instead of like having spring practice, we had 5 like games in the spring. We played those 5 games. We actually went like 3-2, which I was hyped about just because that's 3 of those games that I won came from the 6 that I've won my whole career, right? So
you just doubled it,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So we played those 5, went home for the summer, went home for, it wasn't even a full summer break. It was probably about a month and a half. Came back, and then we played all 11, and I think we finished 3-8. So
yeah, that was a really hard time to kind of manage all that stuff.
Yeah, it was.
I remember, with the team that we're running at the time, we went 6 games into it.
Yeah.
And then because like things are a little bit more rigid up north in terms of COVID protocols. I think we got like 3 or 4, maybe 5 games in, and then we end up being shut down by by the guidelines. So yeah, there's a lot of juggling, and at the end of the day, I think everybody really tried to do their best to get you guys football, and luckily, it sounds like they did. So
Yeah, man, it was a weird time, but I always think, everything happens for a reason.
yep,
Again,
yep,
glad my path is the way that it was because it's gonna be one hell of a story to tell one day for sure. So
Absolutely. Tell me about coming up to Albany. Like you said, got in with Sean, and he kind of put the bug in Coach Ware's ear. Hey, I got a guy, and he's killing it in the workouts. He's a good dude. Talk about coming up here and joining the team and becoming a big part of the the Firebirds. As a general, but obviously as a defensive player, and
yeah,
making your presence felt on the Albany Firebird defense last year.
yeah, man. So coming up here, obviously I was training hard beforehand, but coming up here, we came up here probably April.
hmm
That's when camp started, and there was a lot of guys up there at camp, and
yeah,
I just kept hearing like, you know, people getting cut, people getting sent home, people getting cut, and I'm like, because I have that goal in my head, man. So it was different. Like obviously being 14, 15 hours away from home wasn't really, that's different for me because I've never been that far
right,
away from home for so long. But
hmm
it was a quick adjustment, just because business had to be handled. But I mean, I always go hard in practice. I went hard. I go hard every day. Put in the extra work. We get with guys different. There's obviously guys on our team that love their extra work. Um, it was awesome though. It's definitely different adjusting into the inside game coming
hmm
from outside because the last time I played was outside. It was
right,
definitely different, but not a hard adjustment at all. And just having my teammates back and it feels good to actually be on a winning team with guys that want the same end result. And I
hmm
feel like that helps you become a better player as well.
sure.
So
What was the biggest transition for you going from the outdoor 11-man game to the Arena League 7-on-7 or
um
8-on-8? 8-on-8.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
What was the biggest transition for you on the field?
Really the speed, probably the speed of the game. Just because that ball's coming out quick,
Yeah,
right? Coming out 1.5 to 2 seconds. Probably the speed of the game. Obviously the length of the field. Um, the field goal, like the rules really. I had to learn the rules. Obviously, I learned them very fast, but
yeah, especially on kickoff because you're covering those. Year one. I mean, there's a lot of intricate rules there, and I actually have a couple questions for you. One going back to your start in camp. When you guys first started that camp, the beginning of the year, it was Ironman rules, and I know you had said that obviously you transitioned from center to defensive line. When the Ironman rules were being employed, did you have a secondary position assigned to you on the offensive side of the ball?
oh yeah, I got to play fullback for sure, and
Okay.
I always wanted to run the ball. Like the blocking part, obviously I had down packed. I feel like just
Mm.
because I played center before, but running the ball was a different adjustment. But I've always wanted to, run the ball, score a touchdown. So
Well, that
See,
that
he's like every lineman we
it's,
ever have
yeah.
played with, ever,
No, I'm just gonna say so.
yeah.
ever.
So the second question was, you're right. Um, being 14 hours away from home, the Albany fan base seems to do a really good job, especially with the care packages. How important was
And
that for you?
the adoptive
Yeah,
player,
yeah.
yeah.
Like how special or how helpful was that for you as somebody that was out of the nest, so to speak, for the first
Man,
time?
it was extremely helpful, and shout out to those guys as well, man. Thank you so much. Just because there was something we had to fill out, and obviously I'm gonna put the things on there that make me feel like home and that remind me of home, and those care packages definitely helped a lot. Made us definitely feel supported and loved, and that's what's important. I feel like for sure.
And again, I don't know, I'm not intricately known with some of the other teams, but it seems like this is a program that helps. I mean, we talked to Sean Lockett, and he's from Springfield, Mass, which is an hour drive basically from Albany. And now and then on the other end, it's coming from Georgia, 14-hour drive away, 15-hour drive away, and
Mhm.
he said the same thing about the awesome care packages and everything they do for you guys, coming up here for the season. So I think that that's something, that is a big deal for you guys. Something
Yeah,
one less thing to worry about, really.
yeah. We definitely appreciate it, and I mean these care packages, man, they were awesome, dude. They were, man. We have enough from the care package from the last week, still, and we
That's
getting more and more and more. Like it was great, man. It was awesome. I thank them guys a lot for sure.
So now, going into year 2 here in Albany, would he be considered one of the vets now? Being year 2?
well, that's
Well,
not
either way,
that's not my decision to make.
Yeah,
either either way, coming here and not, last year obviously was brand new place, brand new city, brand new everything.
yeah.
Now you've got the year under your belt. Talk about coming into this year's camp. When do you guys actually start? I haven't heard, or do you guys know when you're actually starting?
Yeah, so report date is February 20th between 3 and 6 p.m.
Okay,
Yeah,
so 6 weeks or so, basically until you report.
yeah.
How has this year, in terms of getting ready for the season and all that kind of stuff, been different than obviously last year?
So like I was confident last year, but just I didn't know what to expect, right? Because you got to be confident going into the unknown. I feel like just whatever and be comfortable in change. So it was change, but now I know what to expect. I'm more confident. Again, a lot of the guys that are returning, like we have that chip on our shoulder because that loss definitely hurt us last year. It was really emotional afterwards. So I think with me and along with the other guys that are returning, we know what's expected. We're gonna come in, set the standard, and get to it immediately. So
You guys went through a lot last year.
yeah, it was. Yeah.
Just not to get into the nitty gritty, but just the scheduling alone. You went through a lot of unknowns. You went through a lot of inconsistency in terms of what's the word am I thinking of? Routine. It was very, very difficult for you guys to maintain a routine. As soon as you get out of a routine, you get out of character, in my opinion. In terms of a football team. I'm not saying as individuals, but I think that's that speaks to the kind of team that Coach Damon Ware put together last year, and now hopefully this year, you take those lessons and take it the next step forward.
Yeah, man. I feel like people hate winners, which is sad. I'm not, and I mean that in a humble way, but like just like we talked about earlier, just overcoming adversity. There was a lot of adversity
Yeah.
coming our way, even like outside of the football games, and just the ability. I'm real impressed with the way we've overcome those things. So
Mhm.
I definitely feel you on that.
So a couple of things that have come out in the last few weeks, last couple of weeks of 24 and into 25, the schedule coming out, and the fact that Vice TV is going to be doing some of the games live on Sunday nights. The first question, is there any opponent that you've got on the calendar circled specifically? And then the second question is, having the ability to play on a national platform. I'm sure they haven't announced exactly who and where. I'm guaranteed that the runners up from the Arena Bowl runner up from last year is going to be a big part of that. So the first question is there anybody on the schedule that you've got kind of circled in and playing on a national platform with Vice?
I mean, yeah, March 14th. I believe it's Orlando.
Yeah.
And
Season opener, yes sir.
season opener. We always fired up for that one, and obviously, the guys that we lost to last year in the championship, Billings, they always circled on there. So yeah, definitely.
And then about playing on Vice again, I think that last year, as Chris talked about, there was a little bit of what's going to happen. There's kind of unsure in terms of the league and how that's going to go. And now this group has been able to get this deal with Vice. Talk about being able to have your talent shown on a national level on a stage like that.
I mean, I think it's great, man. I think it's a great opportunity, like you said, for guys to showcase what they can do um, on a platform, like you said, like that. It's a great way to be seen. I feel like it feels good to be on that platform so we actually can be seen and have a chance to, further advance our careers or our goals or whatever, we aspire to do. So I think it's great, man. I'm very thankful for
100%.
that. Yeah, definitely.
Anything else?
No,
Make sure we didn't miss anything.
no, I just really want to thank you for taking the time. This is something that we, want to keep bringing, to the people out there to kind of get an opportunity to kind of learn who you guys are and hopefully, um, get a better understanding of where you're coming from and why you're here, and hopefully win another a first AF1 championship.
Get to and win the first AF1 championship.
And again, we thank you. And if there's opportunity for us to speak again, we'd absolutely love it.
Well, so one of our plans that we're hoping to do during the year is after games to be able to talk to you guys, and I'm sure we'll get a chance at some point to talk to you after a big game, big interception, that kind of thing. So we'll talk again, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no man, and you guys are welcome. I appreciate you guys as well, man, for doing this. This is awesome.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited to see where this thing goes. And again, just thank you guys for everything.
All right, DJ Walden, good luck this year, man. We'll talk.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you. See ya.